The day I stood beside Daniel's grave, the rain fell so softly it almost felt respectful, like the sky understood that someone good had just left the world. Daniel had been my best friend since we were 10. We had shared everything: school lunches, stupid teenage dreams, first jobs, and even the terrible apartments we lived in during our 20s. But standing there that day, I realized there was one thing we never expected to share: his family. Lena stood a few steps away from the grave, holding her daughter's small hand. Her face was pale, her eyes empty from days of crying. 6-year-old Mia leaned against her, confused and quiet in a way children should never have to be. I kept remembering Daniel's last night in the hospital. His voice had been weak but stubborn. "Ethan," he whispered, gripping my hand, "if anything happens, take care of them." I had laughed it off at the time. "Nothing's happening to you, idiot." But he had looked at me seriously. "Promise me." So I promised. 3 months later, that promise felt heavier than anything I had ever carried. Life didn't slow down just because someone died. Bills came, rent came, school came, and Lena was drowning in all of it. Daniel had handled everything: finances, insurance, paperwork. Lena had always focused on Mia and her small online art shop. After Daniel passed, the reality of the world hit her all at once. One evening, I visited their small apartment. Mia was sitting at the table coloring, while Lena stared at a stack of unpaid bills. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "I shouldn't bother you with this." "You're not bothering me," I replied. But I could see the fear behind her eyes. 2 weeks later, the landlord gave her a notice. They had 30 days. That night I couldn't sleep. Daniel's voice kept replaying in my mind. "Take care of them." The next morning I drove back to their apartment, with an idea that sounded crazy, even in my own head. Lena opened the door looking exhausted. "I think I found a solution," I said. She gave a tired smile. "Unless you found a winning lottery ticket, I don't think there is one." I took a breath. "Marry me." She froze. For a moment the room went completely silent, except for Mia's crayons scratching on paper. Lena stared at me like she thought I was joking. "You can't be serious." "I am." She shook her head. "Ethan, I'm still grieving my husband, your best friend." "I know," I said quickly. "This isn't romantic, it's practical." I explained everything. My job had recently offered a housing benefit for married employees. It came with a bigger apartment and health coverage for dependents. If we got married, Lena and Mia would have stability, a home, security. "It would just be on paper," I added gently. "No pressure, no expectations, just until you're back on your feet." She looked torn. "I can't ask you to do that." "You didn't," I said. "I'm offering." She glanced toward Mia. The little girl had drawn 3 stick figures holding hands. "Look, Mommy," Mia said proudly. "This one is Daddy, this one is you, and this is Uncle Ethan." The word Daddy hung in the air like something fragile. Lena's eyes filled with tears. 3 weeks later, we were standing in a small courthouse. No wedding dress, no music, just signatures and quiet understanding. I married my best friend's widow for one reason: to keep my promise. But I had no idea that promise was about to change my entire life. Living together felt strange at first. Not bad, just strange. The apartment the company gave us was much bigger than Lena's old place. Mia had her own room painted light blue, and Lena finally had a small studio corner for her artwork. But emotionally, we were all walking carefully around each other. Lena and I acted more like roommates than anything else. We split chores, talked about groceries, and discussed Mia's school schedule like business partners managing a small company. Sometimes I would catch Lena staring at Daniel's photo on the shelf. Whenever she noticed me noticing, she would quickly look away. One evening, I found Mia sitting on the couch with a book upside down. "Reading?" I asked. She shrugged, trying. I flipped the book the right way and sat beside her. We started reading together every night after that. It became our routine. Stories about dragons, pirates, and astronauts. Sometimes Lena would sit quietly nearby, listening while pretending to scroll through her phone. Slowly, the apartment started feeling less like a temporary arrangement and more like a home. But there was still an invisible wall between Lena and me. Until one afternoon changed everything. I came home early from work and heard crying from the kitchen. Lena was sitting at the table with her face buried in her hands. "What happened?" I asked. She looked up, eyes red. "I tried applying for jobs today," she said, "but everywhere wants full-time hours. Who's supposed to pick Mia up from school? Who's supposed to take care of her?" Her voice cracked. "I feel like I'm failing her." I sat across from her. "You're not failing anyone." "But Daniel used to handle everything," she whispered, "and now—" Her voice broke again. Without thinking, I reached across the table and held her hand. "You're not alone anymore," I said quietly. She didn't pull away. For the first time since the courthouse wedding, we actually felt like a team. Later that night, we tucked Mia into bed together. She hugged her stuffed rabbit and looked between us. "Can I ask a question?" "Of course," Lena said. Mia hesitated. "Are you staying forever, Uncle Ethan?" The question caught me off guard. Lena looked at me. I smiled gently at Mia. "If your mom is okay with it." Mia seemed to think about that. Then she nodded seriously. "Okay." A week passed. Then two. And then one night something happened that I will never forget. I came home late after working overtime. The apartment was quiet. Lena was asleep on the couch with a blanket over her. I turned off the lights and walked toward my room. Halfway down the hallway, a small voice stopped me. "Ethan." Mia stood in her doorway, holding her stuffed rabbit. "Bad dream?" I asked softly. She nodded. I knelt down. "Want me to check under the bed for monsters?" She gave a small smile. After the official monster inspection, she climbed back into bed. I tucked the blanket around her. "Good night, kiddo." As I stood up to leave, she suddenly grabbed my sleeve. Her voice was sleepy but clear. "Good night, Dad." I froze. The word echoed in the quiet room. Mia had already closed her eyes. But I stood there for a long moment, completely stunned. I hadn't expected that. Not in a million years. The next morning, I wasn't sure if Mia even remembered what she said. But when I walked into the kitchen, she ran up and hugged me. "Dad, Mom made pancakes." Lena nearly dropped the spatula. We both looked at Mia. Then at each other. "Mia," Lena said gently, "you mean Uncle Ethan." Mia frowned. "No," she said simply, "Dad." My heart did something strange in my chest. Lena crouched beside her daughter. "Honey, Ethan isn't trying to replace your father." "I know," Mia said. Her answer was calm and certain. "But he reads stories. He checks for monsters. He makes my lunch funny with smiley faces." She looked at me. "That's what dads do." The room went completely silent. Lena's eyes slowly filled with tears. She stood up and walked to the window, trying to hide it. Later that evening, after Mia fell asleep, Lena and I sat on the balcony. The city lights glowed quietly below us. "I'm sorry about earlier," she said. "You don't need to apologize. She's just confused." I shook my head. "I don't think she is." Lena was quiet for a long time. Then she said something that surprised me. "You know, Daniel would have liked this." I looked at her. He always said if anything ever happened to him, you were the only person he trusted. Her voice softened. I just didn't realize how right he was. We sat there for a while in comfortable silence. Then Lena turned toward me. Can I ask you something? Sure. When you suggested marriage, was it really just about helping us? I hesitated. At the beginning, the answer had been simple. Yes. But now, I thought about Mia calling me dad, about reading bedtime stories, about the quiet moments Lena and I shared. I don't know anymore, I admitted honestly. Lena smiled a little. Good. Good. She nodded. Because I don't think this feels like a temporary arrangement anymore. My heart started beating faster. She looked down at her hands. I spent months thinking my life was over when Daniel died, she said softly. But somehow, you helped us build a new one. She looked up at me. And I think maybe we're not pretending anymore. Before I could respond, the balcony door suddenly opened. Mia stood there rubbing her eyes. Why are you both outside? Couldn't sleep, I asked. She shook her head. Then she climbed into the chair between us. Family hug, she demanded. Lena laughed softly. We wrapped our arms around her. And in that moment, something became clear to me. I had married my best friend's widow for one reason. To keep a promise. But somehow, somewhere along the way, that promise had quietly turned into a family, Red.